Hi, Henrik Knudsen here. I just want to quickly take you through the agenda for our meeting tomorrow on the 5th of October, and then the rest of the slideshow will be presenting some of the aspects of Sohini and the 12 different ways for companies to innovate. And for tomorrow, we'll start out in your project groups and then go through the different steps in the Dublin model. We had that for, you were looking at the Dublin model last time. I just want you to take your projects that you presented and then in your project groups discuss each of the individual steps within the Dublin and see where your idea is and get some ideas of how you can further develop it. So after that, back and then one or two groups, or just one group, will make a presentation and we'll give them some feedback. Second issue is we'll be then working in some new groups, relating and reflecting in the new groups on each of your different projects on this question of the new business powers, but especially this one, new business powers. So not so much the 12 ways that are in the following slides, but more on this link. So please follow this link and have a look where I'm presenting the main elements from the Harvard Business Review of new business powers and putting it into the context of cars, automobiles, and how the way that we're looking at transportation and private cars is changing due to the aspect of new business powers. It's an intriguing area, and I was really looking forward to hear your reflections and ideas on this one. And don't forget to also have a look at the presentation Søren gave us with the link to TED Talks, where the author is given an interesting talk on this article, actually, or on the thoughts behind this article. Okay, so start off working your groups with the Dublin model, trying to see how it can improve your individual projects. Then we'll be going to the more reflection, especially in new groups, especially concerning new business powers, but also if you want to have add a few links to the 12 different ways. That is it. Let's have a quick look at the 12 different ways and how it's. And one of the aspects we could discuss was Hannon and Freeman. They talk about organizational isomorphism, meaning that organizations tend to become more and more similar due to a globalized world, that they're competing on the same field, using the same tools, and in that way organizations are beginning to look more and more alike. Well, as I thought was a little entertaining, as a dog or as a master, so is the dog. So that's perhaps isomorphism in a different context. Organizational isomorphism means, what does it imply? Well, it implies, for example, in Porter's Five Forces, that the branch, the one in this middle, they act in the same way, and they have the same way of conducting business. So the paradigms, the way they think, the way they act, the models they're using are all the same. They're all educated with the same, with people with the same books from different universities reading the same books. So it's gradually getting more and more same consensus. Using the marketing mix, so using the same ways to market. There is a logic, a paradigm. There's accepted ways of marketing, and that's actually an interesting point, because one of the companies that back in the 90s broke the way of marketing was Benetton. This is an advertisement from Benetton, United Colors of Benetton. So they broke this organizational isomorphism, and that's actually what their breakthrough was, that they had a completely new way of branding their company, of communicating with their customers, and that actually made that company extremely big. So, next step, as we saw with Benetton, they weren't making new clothes, they were just creating new values in the way that they were branding them. So the article, so he now actually has 12 different ways to innovate, has 4 key dimensions. The one is the what, so the product or the service experience. Note, what is the product is the same as we had in TID, the one angle. Remember, we had TID with product, position, process, and paradigm. So they share this understanding of the what, the product and service. Product is also part of the 7 Ps, and that way we're overlapping 12 ways to innovate with 7 Ps. We're overlapping it with Porter, we're overlapping it with TID and the innovation space. And this is what's important. You understand the tools and see how they're interlinked. That's the what. Then there's the who. This is the position. Which segments are we addressing? Again, where is this in TID, innovation space? This is the position. The who is not apparent in the 7 Ps, because the 7 Ps address how we differ our marketing mix depending on which segment that we're addressing. And where? So this is also recognizable in the 7 Ps. Place. Where is it we're promoting, and how? This could be related to the 7 Ps in the process. So there's overlap to the 7 Ps, the marketing mix. There's an overlap or some similarities to innovation space. This is a product, this is a position. These two actually would go as a position, and this one is a process. So there's a great overlap with TID in the innovation space, but lacking the paradigm, i.e. the logic behind it. And this is what we saw on the previous slide. We were talking about the logic behind Benetton. So the 4 key dimensions: what, who, where, and how. And this is then developed further with some dimensions. The one is the value creation. What is it? What product and what service? Value creation. So now we can recognize this from the business model cube and the business model canvas. This is essential in value creation. Segments. So this can also be related to a business model canvas and business model cube. Who is it that we're offering it to, and what is the means, and which process are we using internally? So this can then be said: the offering, which platform we're from, and which solutions we're offering to the different segments. Which experience are we giving the segments, and how is the flows? This could be related to the processes or to the key activities in the business model canvas. Process. How's the organization? We will not be talking very much about this, but the organizational setup could be an issue. For example, some organizations are very hierarchical, and what does that influence, where others are much more flat organizations. And moving on to, got them all up there now, the supply, how are we getting out there, where are we being present, which networking activities do we have, and what's the branding. So if you just pause a minute and have a look at it, you can have there is some resemblance, some overlapping to the previous models. There's also overlapping to Dublin. For example, the branding, the network, the offering. So it's been able to spot these overlaps and understand in which context it's important. There's also overlap to Business Model Cube and Business Model Canvas. But I'll leave you to discuss this, reflect on it, write down a few notes, and be ready to discuss it in your second project work tomorrow. Yeah, this is more or less what I've been commenting on. This one with fulfilling, does it meet the purpose? Is it good at describing the innovation abilities for an organization, for a company, or is Dublin better? This depends on the company and the situation that you're in. Then we have the article of Wood and McKinley, looking at the construction of entrepreneurial opportunities. I have mentioned it previously, and this article addresses it. It mainly addresses, is the opportunity something you discover, or is the opportunity something that is developed? Or is it both? If it's something that we develop, then it's just constructivist, and it's created through the process of social construction. So it exists by the entrepreneur or the intrapreneur working with it and constructing it, slowly materializing it. So what we're looking about here is a lot about collective intelligence, collaboration, communication, different communities, developing it slowly from the individual to a global market. Oops. So on this side of this, say this is our dimension, this is constructive, it's very subjective. On the opposite side, we have the objective. So things are as we see them. They can be detected. We can go out and spot an opportunity. They're there for everyone to take, as opposed to this one, where the opportunities are much more constructed. So they're not there for everyone to take, but they're constructed depending on your values and depending on your previous education, depending on your leisure activities, etc. I wonder why. Why are they looking at golf bags? Because you play golf. So this is this subjective aspect influences the paradigm, the way that you're looking at the opportunities. And in this side, on the objective, we study the world, we discover or realize an opportunity. In this side, on the constructive, subjective side, we have much more idea generation, development, and relationships. I have to finish off. Consequences. Last slide, luckily. So it goes from conceptualization. The entrepreneur sees an opportunity, and then works with each other. As you're working in the class, as you're working in the groups, so you're going from concept to objectification. And then if you go further with it yet, then it gets enacted, then it becomes into the real world and becomes a product and a service that in some way is situated in an organization. So that's the consequences of how the route would be from the subjective. See you all tomorrow, and good thinking.